If I gave a fuck what y'all think I would be doing this? Welcome to the FMFU podcast, the podcast that's from me, for us. Vulgar but true, real and never fake. I'm your host, Reese, and I've got a lot of shit on my mind today, so let's get into it. Happy Friday, people, and welcome to an all-new exciting episode of the From Me, For Us podcast. I'm back from a long interlude to drop another episode of Coal in your lap and talk a few topics that have been on my brain in the past couple of weeks. Hopefully it's hot enough to keep you warm because with the exception of today, winter is here, and it came and hit me like a pile of fucking bricks. Cold as fuck every damn morning for the days I worked, and I have to say, and I've always stated this, I will never get used to the damn cold. I remember at Hampton, I would complain about the cold, and people would be like, ain't it cold where you from? Yeah, motherfucker, but that doesn't mean we like that shit. We just got great winter coats. So, no, I will never get used to this, and I don't think anyone ever gets used to this shit, unless you're white. Jesus, Gary, it's 21 degrees, but I'm so hot right now. Hey, yo, why every white person at my company name either fucking Jim or Tim or Gary or Dave or Bill? It's funny because, they then have the nerve to mix me and the dark-skinned guy up when our names are totally different and we don't even look the fucking same. It's like that meme that says white people can identify 500 breeds of dog, but will mix up 2 black coworkers. Shaking my damn head. But moving on. Last time we talked, a nigga had a birthday. Or if you listen to Friday prior, a nigga had a birthday coming up. So to touch on that, I will say that I did enjoy myself greatly, as I almost always do when I take a trip anywhere. I was telling my friends the other day, you always need those quarterly bro trips just to, unplug from the everyday routine of your woman, your kid or your kids, and your job, and just take some time to link up with your boys, to break bread, talk shit, and just kick it a little bit. At the end of it, you come back feeling all refreshed and ready to take on the world. But it was November, so of course I was refreshed for the whole month, especially Scorpio season. But as the last few days dialed down and my season came to an end, we started getting to the season of the Sag. There's a lot of cool Sages out there. My grandmother, who was the original OG Sag, Hov is a Sag, and we could probably think of a lot of others as well. But the best part of Sag season is getting into the month of D-Simba and continuing the holiday spirit from Thanksgiving and into Christmas. Now I think about it though, I guess Christmas is technically in Capricorn season, but anyway, you get what I mean. So, soon as Thanksgiving Day was over, my wife started Christmatizing the house like the day after. Yeah, I know, Christmatizing. She made that shit up, not me. So the house has been Christmatized for a while now. We've also been doing Elf on the Shelf this year with my kids. We've been having some fun with that, moving our little doll around different days and kind of get creative. And last weekend, we threw a lit-ass, ugly sweater Christmas party at the house where we consumed lots of drink, Fireball Jello shots, and a couple of Eddies. Holiday season. Aye. But sitting here and processing, though, can you really believe we're only 4 days away from Christmas? Forget Christmas. We're only 11 days away from a whole new year. Shit flies by. I saw a meme that said, damn, man, 2018 went by so fast, I ain't even have time to get my shit together. Damn, 2018 went by so fast, I ain't even have time to lose any weight. While it was funny and true for some, the flip side of me hated the meme because most people posting it were people who probably will never get it together, but will continue to blame the world for their issues. You know, the type of people who want to blame others for their own issues that they caused and put themselves in the first place. The type who burn incense in the house to kill the negative energy, knowing damn well they're the constant negative energy. The type that will get mad when they're being called out for their issues and make a post or comment saying, y'all won.
It's the FMFU podcast, bitch.
That whole y'all one situation has been crazy for real. I have to say this, and I have mutual thoughts about this with my guy Aaron over on the No Rules Pod. Y'all motherfuckers make way too big of a deal about the Offset and Cardi B situation. 3 to 4 weeks later, and I'm still seeing everybody online acting like they're Dr. Love or some shit and got all the answers in the fucking world. Now, I know celebrity situations always get way overblown. If comparing them to a situation with like a regular nigga. But half of y'all chicks commenting are some hypocrites. The dudes who are online saying they wanted to take him back are being the most real because these dudes saying that would want to be taken back if they were in the same position. But I'm seeing posts from chicks talking about, move on, sis. Leave him alone, sis. Which, if that's your opinion, then that's fine and I'm okay with that. But when I know you as a person, and I know you stuck with your broke ass, ain't shit, non-celebrity nigga or taking Tyrone ass back after he had a side baby, then I don't want to hear your fucking opinion. Tyrone got 3 kids and you got his oldest and his youngest, but his middle child isn't by you. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Even when my man D Wade had a side baby, every chick still rooted for him and Gab to make it work, and now look, they moved past it and have their own baby together. Congrats to them. But anyways, so over the past weekend, there was a situation that took place on stage at the Rolling Loud concert during her performance. A couple signs rolled out on stage, one at a time. Big, bold black letters. Take me back, Cardi. And then, Offset comes out with the suit, and the flowers and shit. So, I'm watching the clip and I'm like, Offset, go ahead and confess that love, dog. Like, I'm all for trying to right your wrongs. Get on them knees in that white fucking whatever you got on there suit and start confessing like Usher. So when this nigga puts down the flowers and hops on the mic and says, listen, I'm sorry, bruh, I fucking lost it. Like, I thought that was the funniest shit ever. And it's not because of what he said, since real talk, they probably clown and talk to each other like that. But the fact that he said it at the point in time when this is supposed to be, you taking your big swing and trying to get your wife back and showing you're truly sorry, yeah, I don't think that was the best thing to say. I wasn't the only one in the world who looked at the apology on stage like, what the fuck either, because it was clear as day that the apology definitely ruffled a lot of y'all socialites' feathers. I was seeing all these articles talking about, that apology was selfish. That apology was weak. That apology was abusive. Cut that shit out. I saw somebody, and I'm not going to say no names, they made a whole post about how the apology was abuse because he forced himself onto the stage to apologize, and he did it selfishly to make it all about him. Then the topic turned into what the definition of abuse is, because abuse doesn't always mean physical abuse. It just means he was trying to control her. Blah, blah, fucking blah. It's like, bruh, who fucked you in the ass and hurt your feelings? Abuse as a noun can mean the improper use of something, so that is correct. Alcohol abuse, for example. You're not physically beating nobody, but you are abusing alcohol, so that is true. It doesn't always necessarily mean physical abuse. However, let's not throw that fucking word out there for his attempted apology and put the continued negative perception up. So the clickbaiters and anybody reading just the headlines will think that he went on stage and tried to whoop her ass. Some people don't know how to apologize or express themselves in the correct way. And just because someone is a celebrity, that doesn't make them any more superior to that. Not knowing how is what causes situations to happen that don't satisfy the general public. Hence, I'm sorry, bruh. Like, can't help it. That shit is fucking hilarious. But some apology ideas aren't always as great as one would think. Like, even if you look at this apology, for example, right? Or like, take yourself and put yourself in the situation. Like, if you explain this idea to someone, especially us as guys, we don't always think of the other back end of stuff. We're just thinking, this is us putting out our effort and we opening up ourselves and hopefully this works. So if anybody regular or him, let's just use him for the example, say he explained it to his people, because of course he had to get clearance for all that to work. Security ain't just gonna let nobody fucking run up there that she don't want. If he explained the idea of the apology, or the gesture to show that, he's sorry. So he's explaining it to his man. And Out loud, it might sound like a good idea at the time. But the only problem with that when that happens, and it's not anything we can control, certain ideas that are said out loud or that look good on paper, they don't always translate well on the court. I mean, look at the 17-18 season Cleveland Cavaliers. On paper, them motherfuckers are like dogs. But half the motherfuckers couldn't do shit in the playoffs. So, situations happen. And people shouldn't really be that pressed. Like, if Hova made Beyonce create Lemonade, then why do we make such a big deal about this controversy? Shit can happen to anybody, and y'all just need to move on from it. I'm tired of hearing about it. As my daughter, who always watches Frozen, says, let it go. People need to move on and continue to strive for a better future. Just look at Meek Mill. Before we officially made it into the month of December, Meek Mill dropped off to the world his fourth studio album titled Championships. Now, before I begin, let me give you a little backstory. I like telling stories. So before I went to college, the illustrious Hampton University, class of 2011, Onyx 8 Black Diamonds, I wasn't a very versatile listener of music. It was all hip hop, especially in high school, whether it was Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, or The Diplomats. Dipset, bitch. Like, I liked R&B, and there were songs that were appealing, and like, I know all the classics, and I can sing all the songs. Like, I know all of that stuff, but you just probably wouldn't catch much of it on my iPod at the time. I mean, unless it was on like, try to have like a sex playlist or some shit. Maybe it was like, some Pretty Ricky, I wanna sex you, type shit. But anyway, so as time goes on, I got to college. I think you could say I started listening to other white genres of music. And the only reason it stemmed that way, he's like, well, we went to an all black college. How'd that happen? The only reason it happened is because I had a crazy obsession, and I was always constantly playing Rock Band. And I learned about all kinds of shit by playing this game. Like, I learned about the band Paramore, Weezer, all kinds of bands. I used to fucking love Rock Band, man. I used to tear that shit up on the guitar, man. I used to play on Expert too. Like, some shit used to be too hard, but yeah, I used to be pretty good. But my versatility in music, it grew. And I think that's always good, because you shouldn't just be so straightforward on one genre. And, that's how you grow. And you kind of see, okay, I see why certain group of people like this type of music. And honestly, it does have a good beat, or whatever the case is, whatever you like about it. So with the versatility of music increasing, man, there was one song that always, and still to this day, gets me hype when I hear it. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because of The Hangover, but it's that Phil Collins In the Air Tonight. So when I'm driving in the morning, taking my daughter to school, and I don't want to say pop it in, because ain't no CDs no more, but I plug my phone in, let's put it that way. And so I'm playing this Meek, intro starts, and I'm hearing the sample, so I'm just tuned in instantly, like, oh shit, like, is this the Phil Collins? So then, I'm loving the intro, going in on that. And then what really got me was when I was pulling into the parking lot and the fucking song Trauma comes on. And then that fucking getaway shit came. Oh, I fucking lost it. That Mobb Deep shit came on. I fucking lost it. I cut it off. I said, hold up. I took her in. I said, we got to run this whole album back. Mind you, I was only 2 tracks in. I'm already in the group chat, like, album of the year. I'm forcing this shit. But it just, shit like that is so great to me, because the album, it pulled me back, to those junior high school days, just on the samples alone, like, especially that Trauma shit. Like, I remember the fucking Mobb Deep video where they was driving, I think it was in the desert or some shit, and now I know where that fucking beat dropped. Like, it just is, I love it, you know what I mean? And it's got this, like, and I know Meek from Philly, but it's got this like NYC type sound. And I was always wondering, like, why? I mean, producers are great, and you can make that type of music no matter where you're from, but looking at the credits and everything and reading more into it, because I Google everything, as you know, I looked and I realized that this shit was engineered by the help of Hova's engineer, Young Guru. So that just makes perfect fucking sense. So I'm not about to go into a whole extensive review of the album, because everybody and their fucking mamas listen by now, so I'm a little late with this. But I just had to make sure I put this out there and say that I nominate Championships for Album of the Year. And if I got to pick a close first or second, I'll say J. Cole's KOD is probably a coin flip away from being number one. Like I'd flip a coin and whichever one it land on. But the fresher stuff always gets you, your vote because it's newer. So, but yeah. But like as I've stated on numerous occasions, with that album dropping out and being so great, hell, Meek even had an album, similarly named to this. We always take our wins with our losses. So for every positive thing that happen, as I said before, something negative will always occur. So on the same release date of Championships, we get this fucking breaking news, and it's this fucking video of Kareem Hunt at the incident at the Metropolitan at the 9. Now, and I hate to laugh because I'm laughing because I'm just like, but anyway, let me get into it. So I'm not going to rehash everything. It's been rehashed for weeks. My boys on they pod talked about it too, and I don't like to repeat too much stuff. But, I got to say my piece. And the bottom line of anything is that, Kareem, he was wrong. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, it's disappointing. I'm on Facebook and I'm seeing lots of women I personally know, that I grew up with, and, they're on there, defending them. And I'm just like, how are y'all defending a guy who, like, was putting his hands on a woman? Like, I understand there's certain situations that happen where you can defend that and you can try to justify, but it's just something that should never happen, no matter the circumstance. Men should never hit women unless they have to, like, defend themselves, like, or protect their lives. And that clearly wasn't the case. So unless you got to defend yourself, she trying to shoot you, she trying to stab you, beat you up, okay, you might have to put your hands on her, grab her, yoke her up, okay, that's different. But this wasn't that situation, so it should just never happen, period. But despite even all of that and just digging even deeper into that, I think it just brings up another thing because, I personally hate the fact that the NFL doesn't keep the same fucking energy with everybody. Like, these motherfuckers knew about the situation when it was still in-house, right? They saying it happened in February. It was in Kansas City. They talked to him. And I guess part of it was that he wasn't being all the way fucking truthful. But they only decided to take action when it became public because they wanted to save face. Now, we clearly know they don't keep that same energy with everything because, Big Ben ain't really get hit with no time when he got accused, allegedly or whatever happened with the details of rape or sexual assault, whatever we want to call it. And then also, Greg Hardy, technically he didn't get, convicted in the court of law, but it just would be, in my opinion, as a team, it would be a PR nightmare to sign somebody like that. And then last but not least, recently, Reuben Foster, who been in multiple incidents with the San Francisco 49ers with his girlfriend who he's been putting his hands on her, things like that. He got signed off of fucking waivers by the fucking Redskins after this shit. And then they're talking about, I don't know if we're going to play him. Why the fuck would you pick him up? Like, it's so crazy. And what I mean by the same energy, and this isn't to say that, Kareem doesn't deserve what he got, because yes, he does. But, why only decide to punish players when it's public knowledge they abuse someone instead of when it's discovered, even if it's kept in house? Like, do the right thing. I think as an organization or not a franchise, that's a team, but an organization of the sport in general, you basically own a day of the week like it's a holiday. I would think you would get more credit for handling business by doing what's right instead of trying to save face. And then to jump even on top of that even more, what makes this non-energy being kept the same more crazy is the fact that these NFL teams continue giving these quote-unquote abusers chances when they're clearly wrong. And they still won't give a certain quarterback a chance who did nothing wrong but use his platform and freedom of expression to speak against the injustices and killing of unarmed black men, which is in his rights as an American-born citizen. It sucks. The whole situation surrounding Kareem Hunt sucks. And it hits more to home because he's from the Cleveland area, and I know people who are related to him. Now, rumor is that, like I said earlier, things happen, people say things. And the rumor, and I think it might even been confirmed, not even a rumor now, is that the white girl who went to Kent, she was a young girl, she tried to call him a nigger. And in the fit of rage or being lit, I can see a reason of, why he might have done what he done if you're not in your right state of mind. And I can see why when he says that's not who I am, that can be believable. There's a lot of situations I've seen where people been in like that. And, one situation I've seen where somebody took everything in them not to do something. One situation I've seen where somebody just lashed out because he was fucked up and he just, boom, he did some stuff. But anyways, regardless of whatever it is, you have to control yourself and try not to put yourself in those situations. It's just unfortunately it is what it is. Like I always joke and say, I salute black dudes when I see them with white women because that means they're creating another child of color and essentially killing off a potential racist. But fellas, if you got a lot to lose or even a little, you might want to think twice before you be messing with these white chicks. I know black chicks do crazy shit too, but she can't really pull that, skin color card or, come out as a certain perception to America. I mean, I know Ray Rice got in a situation with his fiance, so which is this is pretty much very similar because it was in a hotel. But, we just got to be, we got to look out for ourselves, fellas. In any situation like this, when it's the big black man versus the small white girl, the big black man is always going to be the target. Just look at Emmett Till. Plus, thinking of all them dudes that I see with white girls, it's kind of funny because a lot of times when you see these black guys, they're not even like with like a super fine, like Megan Fox looking white chick. Like these chicks be super basic. Like she can at least have like a fat ass or something, my guy. But but in all seriousness, I don't think someone should get a life sentence for making a potential drunken judgment error because that doesn't necessarily define their character. I do salute him for admitting he was wrong. That's where it starts. You admit you're wrong and, you try to start the healing process. So, hopefully one day he can get another chance like those others that got a chance before him. We all have to grow in life and sometimes you make mistakes in the past that you have to just apologize for. And hopefully everybody can move on from it. Forgive and forget. Moving on is relevant because Kevin Hart decided to move on from hosting the Oscars. Now we know, and it's been reported and talked about, but it's all stemmed because people found some old tweets that were deemed homophobic, quote unquote. Society and these trolls digging up old tweets shows that in the world we live in nowadays, you must be a total fucking perfect person and be held to an even higher standard than the president of the United States, or you're not worthy of being a part of any groups, hosting any gigs, getting any kind of money, or any fucking thing. I'm okay with Kevin's move and him saying he won't apologize because, he already apologized and addressed it numerous times. I'm okay with that. Stand by what you did or what you said or your apology and, don't repeat yourself. There's no need for that. Even though the nigga, he went and apologized anyway while saying he was stepping down, like you backpedaling ass nigga. But anyways, none of that matters. All that matters is that I told y'all motherfuckers back in episode 14, F the Oscars. The Oscars isn't for black people. I pointed out the numbers and how black films aren't really counted or relevant for nominations. The only black film that was really relevant, and some people could even argue that it's not necessarily a black film, even though it's about black people, was Get Out. That was the only thing that really won anything. So I pointed that shit out. I pointed out the numbers and how, we, like I said, we don't get anything. Also pointed out how, there was no outcry for Kobe, when he had his allegations back in the day. There was no, outcry for him to stop playing in the NBA, because the NBA is considered, oh, that's the black people thing. We don't really care about that. It's not invading white people's space. But they had a crazy outcry in a petition to strip Kobe of his Oscar when he won it because of his old allegations in Colorado. I reminded niggas again on Twitter and Facebook that the Oscars isn't for us when they denied Kobe's entry into the Academy months later based on the same years old allegations that Kobe was found not guilty of. Looking at all of this, we need to realize that you shouldn't have to apologize for your past every time you get a new job or a new opportunity if you've already expressed regret in your words or your actions. We have to stop holding people responsible for who they used to be and let people grow. People want to crucify you at the age of 18 to 25, but lots of legal adults are still kids mentally. When I went to college as an 18-year-old, about to be 19-year-old, I was a kid. I felt like a kid. Yes, I'm legal. I'm 18. I can buy tobacco, even though I don't smoke tobacco products. But I'm a fucking kid. I mean, I'm 30 and I still sometimes be like I have a kid, so it's like a little different, but I still sometimes feel like a kid. I don't feel like old. But, like I said, 18 to 25, like you're still kids mentally, you know, and it's not even just because people are childish. I mean, some people still have things going on where they're still, you know, a full-time student. You got people that go to med school, different things like that, other practices, whatever it is. You know, some still living at home to save up money so when they get out of school, they can buy a house, whatever the case is. Different situation for different people. But regardless, whatever it is, you got to give people time to grow. Malcolm X was a wild motherfucker before he found the light. Things like this I try to think about, and I try to always put them in perspective and, you know, put it in a compartment to remember that. And this is why I'm never just so quick to judge a lot of these young niggas, especially like, you know, like what's his name, Tekashi 6ix9ine and R.I.P. to you know, XXX Tentacion, you know, when he was living like, I mean, these cats is young. I'm looking at some of these cats when they're born. Like I looked at Kodak Black the other day because they had an album that just came out. I still got to listen to it, but for some reason I Google, I look up stuff. I just like to, if I'm curious, I'm like, let me look it up. Kodak was born in 97, bro. Like, let's just put that in perspective. 97. I mean, it's crazy. So it's like, yeah, the urban millennial culture, like I'm born 88, okay? So I'm like that in the 80s, early, like first year 90 era, you know, that 3-year window. So I'm like, nigga, 97, nigga, I'm like fucking almost 10. I'm like, damn, so I'm like, these motherfuckers is super young. He been out rapping for years. So you just got to think about the mental of how that is. So, you know, if people can make amends, I mean, look at Gucci. Shit, Gucci 40 now or almost 40. And he really just now getting his fucking life together after he got his woman and quit with the lean and shit. So, you know, we can't judge young people on everything. Young people make lots of mistakes. And I think if people's already been punished for it and they've paid their debts, then, you know, we can't hold them to the fire for life, as I've said earlier about Kareem Hunt. So, yes, Kevin Hart might have made some jokes, but my thing is, everybody wants to be considered equal, right? Well, if that's the case, then anybody can get these equal ass jokes. I don't care if you're a mother, a father, a sibling, white, black, Jewish, gay, Mexican, or whatever. Anybody can get these motherfucking jokes. And anybody should want these motherfucking jokes so they can feel equal. You can't be the gay nigga always trying to sway straight niggas or thinking you got some type of 6th sense gaydar so you can get niggas to have some gay orgy shit or something and walk around and think that shit's cute and like it's okay. But then you want to get sensitive when old jokes from a different time period in the culture get brought up. Keep the shit equal. And no gay person should be offended if someone says they don't want their son or daughter to be gay either. That's not to say the person hates gay people. It's just stating a preference. Like, just because I'm like, hey, I want a full black family, that doesn't say, oh, well, I hate white people. I don't mean, no. That doesn't mean that. That's just my preference. If a woman's pregnant with, let's say, her 4th child, and she has, like, you know, 3 boys, and she's like, oh, I want a girl, that doesn't mean that you gonna, you know, hate your child any less if you get a 4th boy. Your preference is just what you want. Motherfuckers gotta stop being so sensitive. If people want to be equal, let's be equal all the way. Don't be equal only when it benefits you. That's like all these independent women out here who scream they so independent, but be the first ones online talking all that stuff a man gotta do for them. I ain't got time for what you doing texts, listing the bills on a little crumbled up shitty handwriting piece of paper and shit. Why he gotta do so much, sis? You miss independent and want things to be equal, right? Okay. You pay the bills. Take that nigga out to eat. Open the door for that nigga. Take that nigga shopping. Trade places like Usher for a week and shit. Hey, fuck it. Do it for a month since you independent. Equal is as equal does. And don't only try to be equal when it benefits you. As December rolls on and soon will be over in less than 2 weeks, one thing had me hype a couple weeks ago was that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I've been fucking with Super Smash Bros. Since the Nintendo 64 days, and this was my main reason I purchased the Switch on Black Friday. But the drop in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it got overlooked for a few hours because early morning when I was at work, I got tagged in like 3 posts on Facebook, and they were telling me that the motherfucking Avengers 4 trailer dropped. I go right to YouTube and I watch that shit, and I must say, I don't think I've ever been so hyped for a trailer that has shown me absolutely shit in my life. Like, this trailer literally didn't show us a fucking thing or give us any type of clue. But I think it's just because of the fact of, knowing how things last ended. And that's just a wave that I think I'm going to always feel. You should have went for the head. Just, oh man, fuck. Man, Josh Brolin is a motherfucking legend. He a legend off of playing Thanos himself. But he's even more of a legend because he played Thanos and Cable in Deadpool 2 in the same fucking year. Like, that's GOAT status right there, man. Hey, I saw this meme. It was like on the part when the trailer, it showed Thanos' armor hanging up. Like, it was like a scarecrow or something. It was like someone said that, that nigga put in so much work that they retired his jersey. I thought that was pretty funny. But, to watch the trailer on my phone, I actually didn't pay attention to the tags that happened because I was too busy re-binging Game of Thrones, so I had to stop my Game of Thrones to go check it out. So yeah, I'm re-binging Game of Thrones, and I told myself, I'm like, man, I want to go ahead and get fresh, and so I can remember everything because it's so much that happens in that, and so many different characters and names and deaths and incest fucking and whores, and it's so crazy. So I'm like, man, I want to start. So I'm like, fuck it, nothing on TV really, so I'm gonna start now. And I thought maybe it would take me a while and I'd maybe lead right into when the final season comes back, but I'll probably be done with this shit. Yeah, I'm going on vacation. I'm on vacation as of now for a week, so yeah, I'll probably be done like second week of January, maybe sooner. But yeah, so it's crazy too because Avengers Endgame and Game of Thrones the final season are coming back in the same month. So April gonna be a sizzling month, I tell you. But I don't know, man. I don't know if it's gonna be as sizzling as what went down the other day on Twitter by none other than Kanye West.
It's the FMFU podcast, bitch.
So if you've been under a rock, we all know this Kanye versus Drake thing has been going on for a while now. Drake addressed some of the reasons why he was so upset with Kanye on LeBron James' show The Shop that comes on HBO. And if all true, I could relate. I'd be more upset with a friend who told my business to a nigga I didn't fuck with compared to the actual nigga I don't fuck with dissing me. I would expect you to diss me if you don't fuck with me, right? So, recently Kanye's on Twitter going on rants about Drake, and it all started with them trying to get, I guess Drake sent a text to one of his engineers or something, and he was trying to get clearance for his track, Say What's Real off the So Far Gone mixtape. I think he wanted to put it on the streaming networks. And everybody knows, if you know the song, he uses Kanye's beat off his song off of 808's Say You Will. So, so he posts that shit. He's like, shit's faker than wrestling. Then he says, he need to apologize for mentioning the 350s and, in French Montana song, No Stylist. He tried to sneak diss me on my family song, etc. So, now we already talked about this in episode 27. And I'm not founder or the original thinker of this, and I did give credit to, I didn't give him real credit because I didn't know who it was. I gave credit to Twitter, but we talked about and broke down on how on Sicko Mode, Drake put bars in there that seemed like he was insinuating that he smashed Kim.
Yeah.
And on top of that, with her nickname being Kiki. But despite all of that, what had me side-eyeing this whole situation is when Kim wanted to bring her ass in and send a tweet at Drake talking about never threaten my husband or our family. He paved the way for there to be a Drake. Now, here's my thing. First off, why your ass hopping in between a battle between two grown men? Matter of fact, you can't even say it's a battle because the only person who was typing on Twitter was Kanye. Drake wasn't even replying to anything. I'm not quite sure what threats were made to the family, so I guess if something crazy was said about someone's kids, then I can understand why she wanted to say something. But at the same time, if your man claims he the man he is and you claim he the man he is, let this nigga fight his own battle / rant that he started. Because looking at this, how I've been looking at it, the way she needed to chime in, it seemed like she was guilty of something. I mean, chiming in, are you trying to save face? Like, or you feel like you got to say something because, you're guilty? Oh, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel like the only reason she's in a black man's business is because it's always a black man inside of her. Before I can roll, I just want to say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whichever is politically correct. 2018 has been one of the most craziest years of up and downs in probably my whole life. But as I always say, the toughest challenges come to the toughest warriors. And hopefully we can continue to rise above our highs and stay all the way afloat in the new year. 2018 was a flourishing year, and it's time to continue that same energy into the new year. Catch y'all in 2019, people. Peace. Thank you for listening to the FMFU podcast, the podcast that's from me and for us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, and comment, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Also, make sure you get at me on my social media pages. I have a Facebook page, which you can search for From Me For Us, or you can leave it in a status at FMFU_podcast. Also, get at me on Twitter and Instagram at the same @names. That's at FMFU_podcast. Remember, people, always keep it a buck, always keep it 1,000, and perception is everything. I hope you have a nice day. Still fuck y'all.